could really use a break right now. Yeah, I'll do that. So I went out there and I was out there for 2 months
Nice.
and I was doing what most people would call landscaping, but in a professional sense,
That's what I do
it
now.
is extremely vague as to what is actually going on.
Yeah, I work in the commercial landscaping industry now, so
Like
I know.
me and my brother and one other guy put down 680,000 square yards of erosion mat
That
in a
sounds
landfill.
like a fucking nightmare.
Dude, it was I was wearing full fire resistant gear, which included a hard hat, one of those like
Oh yes, it's like like a
masks.
hazmat suit.
Yeah, and goggles
Mm.
and gloves
A
and like
respirator. Did you have a rest?
it
Did
was basically like wearing cardboard boxes.
yeah.
Like and just all right, I'm working, you know. But it was also 115 degrees and there is no breeze
Well, there's
in
methane.
North
It's there.
Dakota.
If it's a landfill, there's a lot of methane gas too.
But I had music. And I was out there for like 2 months, and my brother was really getting me into like Zed's Dead
Sick. I love
and
him.
Cruella
Love her
and
them
Meryl,
girls.
and like I'm really old school when it comes to that. Skrillex will always be like, if somebody asked me what's dubstep, would be like first of the year Skrillex.
Oh
That's
yes.
dubstep. It
Uh,
it, it doesn't get any
you're going back to like when we were talking earlier, and I said that I used to really be into dubstep. That's all the stuff that I was listening to.
like bangarang or
Bangarang, Kyoto, or no, was that Bang? That was in Bangarang. What else am I thinking of? Scary monsters and nice sprites. Isn't that what it was called?
yeah. Dun,
Um,
dun, dun, dun,
yeah,
dun. There's
yeah.
recess.
I haven't.
Everybody's all right.
Yeah, I haven't listened to it in
Nobody
so
stop.
long,
Nobody
man.
stop.
It's been a long time since I've listened to
Oh yeah.
Skrillex. But I used to be big into like Dead Mouse. I love Dead Mouse.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
saw him live once. I
God,
wasn't
so
really
sick.
that impressed,
No,
but
it's more like house
well,
music.
I caught the tail end of it, and he just seemed to be. He just wasn't
He
being
had his money.
himself. I don't know.
He had his money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
yeah.
But what ended up happening was after being out in this heat and just terrible. Like my boss was supposed to give me money for per diem, 25 bucks a day. I wasn't getting it. I was smoking cigarettes, like cigarettes out there, like $3 a pack. So, obviously I was buying cigarettes
Nice.
because vape juice was like $30 a bottle
I remember
and
that.
my vape was broken.
Yeah.
So, yeah, whatever. So, it was just really unhealthy for me for a long time. And then my brother says on the way back, because I was like, me and him actually got into a big fight, like really big fight, because we weren't getting paid, and at this point, this guy owed me like $2,600, something like that, and I
Jesus.
wasn't getting my per diem. And he was never there. He was getting drunk on the way to the job, like drinking on the way to work with us in the truck.
Man.
And I just didn't like that situation. I had to get out of there. So, I told my brother I'm taking the car and I'm leaving. And at that time, I was driving a piece of crap Saturn SC2. Just, it was terrible. He cut up a golf club to try and make supports for a stock spoiler
Oh
that I had
no.
drilled holes in because I wanted
Oh.
it to be higher off the trunk. And every time you moved, that thing was like flying back and forth and like, but if you got going really fast, it lifted up, so at least you know it's working. And
That
that
sounds
thing
terrible.
was on its way out, man. Like, but that was a 17-hour drive that I made up there by myself, straight through with that car. I was like,
That sounds that's very unique, man.
it was, man. I mean, we made it work. We really
Hell
did.
yeah.
But
They
then,
that as long as it got you where you had to go, I guess.
yeah, on the way back, we got pulled over actually for speeding.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
was going 110,
no good.
75, and he actually let us go. with it's a speeding ticket for $50.
Oh, you're
But
lucky.
the first thing he said when he got to the window was, "Wow, I'm surprised this thing can go that fast."
Yeah, that's what.
I was like, "Me too." But yeah.
Did he comment on the
Anyway,
spoiler? Did he say anything about the spoiler?
no.
Okay.
He
That's
just, I
awesome.
think he knew it
That's
was
great.
bad.
That's awesome.
Just held on with little pipe clamps. It was terrible. Terrible. Drilled it right through the trunk. No water seal,
Oh
no
my
nothing.
god, man.
Just
Oh,
went with it.
trunk full of water.
Yeah. We had a hole. It
Oh
was a
my
rust
god.
hole, but we had a hole.
Nice. Very nice.
But anyway, we were on our way back because my brother was invited to a festival that actually doesn't exist anymore.
Well,
It's
what?
called Somerset
Oh,
in
that's
Somerset, Wisconsin. And I'm pretty sure last year they did it, well, it was 2016. I don't know. So this is actually pretty funny. The way music is really just calling and waiting for you to just be like, hey man, yeah, I could do that. So he went to this festival and it was in a town that was close to where I grew up, and I just did not want to, go back there. And I didn't really have anywhere to stay, so I stayed with my friend that was in town. And this was, yeah, this was 2016. So, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. But
it's all
anyway,
good. You were talking about the festival of Somerset.
yeah, yep, yep. And my brother, he had people there that he knew, and he had a ticket or a wristband so he could get in. And it's a 3 day, camping festival, and they had a campground, and he didn't. And they they let him in, and somehow they let me in. I don't know why they did. They weren't really checking wristbands. And I get back to the site, and I was like, Corey, I really, really want to go and
Hmm.
see some of these bands here. Because I found a flyer on the ground and I picked it up and I was like, oh my gosh, Zed's Dead's gonna be here.
Oh,
I've been listening to
sick.
Zed's Dead all for this whole 2 months. I've been listening to all this, Jeezy, Flux Pavilion, like they
All the
were
good stuff.
there.
That's all the good stuff, man.
So I go to this, I go to try to get into this tent. They're like, oh no, you need a wristband. And I was like, okay, because they had a camping one. So I needed an event pass.
So it
So my
was like
brother's
so it
like,
was like two
try
separate.
this.
It was two separate bands. So you had to have one if you were
Yeah,
camping and one if you were part of the
yeah, and they
festival.
were scanning them at the gates.
Okay, so it's like going into a club,
So
but except you can camp.
yeah,
All right.
so it started raining really hard, and all the security like left. They weren't there. So I was like, okay, here's my shot. So
Take it.
what I did was there was this little piece of like solo cup on the ground, and
Oh my
there was
god.
somebody had like, I don't know, festival people are weird, man. They had a hole puncher. So I hole punched this, yeah. I hole punched this white solo cup because
Yeah.
the band on it was white, and then there was like a neon green. Another thing festival people just have, a neon green shoelace, and I
Okay.
tied it on my arm, and I ran through the gate, and I went to see Fox Pavilion for free at
Holy shit.
in a tent under, and they were going hard, dude. They were,
That's
you
all.
know,
Dude. I'm blown. That's amazing. I would have loved to have seen
they
that.
they dropped like a VIP of I Can't Stop that I still
Oh.
can't find to this day.
I was like, so it
And
was
it,
like an exclusive. It was like an event exclusive.
yeah, it
Wow.
was event only exclusive, and they never ever release that stuff. They
Wow.
never ever will. That's what makes them legends.
That's what. Well,
You
that's what
know?
makes it worth it to go see him live.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
That's.
dude. Zed's Dead. Like right after that. So I, it ended shortly after I got there. I only caught like 10 or 15 minutes. So then it started raining like hard, even harder than it was before, and then thundering and lightning. And it's an open grounds festival. So the event people were like, hey, it was like 3 o'clock on day one, and they're like, all right, we're canceling all the events for the day until the rain stops. And everybody was pissed.
Well, you can't have all that
Everybody
equipment out in the
was
rain.
so mad, dude. Oh my gosh. I've never seen that many people mad,
I bet.
But they're like, okay, we're going to pray to the rain gods because we're festival people and that's what we do. you know, they're they're not all like that. Like festival people are amazing. Like I
You know what they
really,
sound
they
like?
are the best people I have
They
ever met in my life.
they sound
It
like
will
they sound
always
like a bunch of Florida people.
they. I mean, I've never met a Florida person, but if they're anything like people that you meet in festivals, I mean, they come from everywhere,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they all get along. So everybody was mad, but that also opened the door for me because if everybody's mad, there ain't, there was like 20,000 people there. You ain't gonna check everybody at that gate,
No.
especially if they're upset. So I was like, all right, man, there's gonna be for sure scanning tags to make sure, and they were like, they announced it and they were like, all right, if you want to go to the shows, the rain seems to be subsiding. And it was like 90 degrees,
Yeah.
95. It was
Gross.
hot.
Gross.
So, sun came out after that. And they're like, all right, we're resuming the events. And it was like 4 o'clock. And, you know, I was like, all right, they ain't going to let me in. They said they're going to be scanning these tags. Well, what ended up happening, which I'm pretty sure is why they shut the whole thing down. And I didn't know what it was at the time because I was like 18 or 19, or 20, something like that. I was younger. I'm older now. but, and I didn't know what drugs were. I didn't know that, that happens to be something that there's a lot of at festivals and there's,
Oh, for
there's
sure.
really no way to stop it. But at the same time, the people that are there know that there are drugs there
Oh
and
yeah.
that there are people that may be irresponsible with it or bring bad stuff into the area.
Absolutely.
And that's something I experienced recently, like 2 or 3 years ago. I went to Dance Festopia in Kansas, which was amazing. Like if you ever get a chance to go to Dance Festopia.
Well, DJ Insomnium. I'm in my 40s now, and I have
Amazing.
4 children and a wife, and
I know.
I don't think I'm going to be
I'm just
doing many
saying.
more festivals in my
No,
lifetime.
but and that's just like I don't know if it's part of the culture. I didn't really participate in it because I don't really, I was a DJ at these big festivals. Like I've never been to a 40,000 person or 30,000 person festival since that time I was at that one,
Mm.
which I'm gonna circle back
Oh,
here.
okay, that's fine.
All right. So what really inspired me to be a DJ and really, really pursue music was after, and this is why I went off on that talk about that. But I was walking up to where the gate was with no wristband on my, on my arm or nothing, and I was like, I'm going to get into this concert because I need to see Zed's Dead live because I heard Hadouken and I lost my mind.
Yeah,
Like when like the first time you ever hear a drop that you've never heard before, it blows you away.
absolutely.
Like you're just like, whoa, what just happened? Like what? And a lot of this music these days has done that, especially at Dance Festopia. Like I went there as a DJ undercover
Mm.
to learn about how do these guys do it? How do these guys that are getting paid all this money do it in a way that makes all these people love them like that? It's not like, and I'm not like saying I'm jealous. I just one day I want to get to that point and I want it to be because the crowd loves me, not because my music is awesome. It can be both, but I want the crowd to be happy first.
Sure.
And that's
I
like
get what
one
you're saying.
thing. And that's one thing that Zed's Dead really did. I was completely 100% sober, not on anything. I've never did anything like that when I was younger. And I jumped the fence, which is something I would have never